speaking to therapists who do things that are very outside of the box and maybe things that other RMTs, osteos, any type of body workers, manual therapists might not think is possible. And Terra, you came to mind right away because not only are you a yoga therapist, you're a registered massage therapist, a manual osteopathic practitioner, and I'm sure there's other things that I'm forgetting about, but Philanthropist was something that came to mind, and the work that you do in other countries. So tell me a little bit about what it is you do and where, and some of the new projects you're working on.
Awesome, thank you, Amanda. So I think what I want foremost is for other therapists to realize that this is something that anyone can do, that I'm not special, or that giving back is something that all of us do in some capacity. We just don't realize it. So we all have a patient that we treat for free, or a friend of a friend that we do work for that they can't afford treatment, but that we see could benefit from the treatment. So even here, we're always helping. I mean, I think that's part of being a healer, and part of being a therapist is wanting to do more for others. But I started a few years ago. I really felt like God laid it on my heart to go to other countries where people need help and need more and don't have the education that we have here, to be able to give them an advantage or treatment that could simply change their lives, that to us would be so small. And so I started by going to Africa, and I started just doing regular treatments. I really wasn't even sure what I would be treating when I was there, but I ended up working with a lot of pediatrics. And so with cranial issues, club feet, brachial plexus injuries, all things that even massage therapists work on all the time. And I found that their education as therapists there was 30 years behind what we're learning here. In fact, our massage therapists know more than their medical personnel. And so I started giving them back education and different ways of treating. Some of the things that they were doing were very old and not getting quite the results that they were looking for. In fact, in some instances, the treatment was worse than the injury that they had come in with. And so then I came back here to Canada to get more education. We have great continuing education leaders in our industry. So Cindy McNeely at Trimesters, Michelle at all the pregnancy courses, and spinning babies. So I started taking all these extra courses, Bellies Inc., and then again went back to share the new information that I gained, and an opportunity for them to continue to treat and educate some of the workers there so that they were doing better practices with the population there. So from there, I've started actually opening my own clinic. So I came back, and I really felt it laid on my heart to go to Roatan. And so I went to Roatan, and half of the country is affluent and expats and very touristy, but the other half is very third world. And so I started in the works to set up a free clinic there, where I'm hoping eventually therapists like myself, or educators, or even just people that want to go and give back, would have an opportunity to go and give back there.
If you were a therapist, or like you said, anybody who wanted to give back and go to a country in Africa or another third world type of country, how do you get started? What did you do? Like, what are people Googling to figure out how to get started doing this work? I assume you don't just buy a plane ticket and show up.
Actually, so for Africa, no. I met this little lady who was the head of SIMS, which is Serving in Missions. It was kind of crazy how that whole story happened. And she asked me if I was interested in coming to Mukingi, a hospital in Zambia, a teaching hospital, to educate nurses on just updated anatomy, and maybe giving them some techniques or ways of treating people that wouldn't resort to surgery or involve medications, because a lot of times they just don't have that. So when I met Doreen, she set in motion for me to go to Mukingi. So I would say that, but I also had an opportunity to go and work with Doctors Without Borders. So I'd say that if that's what you want to do, is search out those particular organizations, like anyone that's going and doing, humanitarian work. They're always looking for people. You do not have to have any specific skill to be able to go. As massage therapists, we have a huge, toolbox at our disposal for different techniques, taping, a whole bunch of things that in a lot of those countries, that would be all that they would have. So that would be a good place to get started if that's what you were looking to do. For Roatan, I simply got a ticket and went there and started looking around. So we hired a driver and asked him to take us to some of the clinics that were on the island. And at that time, I really didn't see a space that I was interested in. Came back here, ended up meeting at a picnic a man that in Roatan, he was a builder, and he's Honduran, and they had just moved here right pre-pandemic. He had all these contacts, so he actually set me up with a real estate person back in Roatan who had a clinic space that was empty.
Wow, God really was telling you to go there.
Yes.
Why Roatan? Before, you said you just bought a ticket.
Yeah.
Had you known anyone from the island? Had you been there before? What made you decide that was the country that you were going to set up shop?
No, we were actually just watching that vacation show. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is, but it's like trying to find an island home. So we were watching that, and they had on it all these different homes in these different islands, and I was like, Roatan's pretty nice. Like, I love the fact it has the reef around it, and so yeah, that's how it happened.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you have a very busy practice here. Again, very large pediatric population that you treat.
Yeah.
How do you balance the two? If for therapists who are really interested in doing this, but think, how can I just walk away from my practice? How do you do it?
Yeah, so you don't have to walk away. I designate time. So this year I designated just a month. So typically I would go to Africa for a month. I'd be there for the month of August, and my patients here just understand that I do this other work, and I'll be gone for a month every year, and typically 1 or 2 weeks at the beginning of the year. So it's spreading it out a little bit, and it's managing your time really well. I work really hard when I am here, and so typically my practice is run 6 days a week, and I have a very full schedule, but I also have 2 other practitioners that work here, and a naturopath that's going to be starting at the end of this month. So really diversifying my practice in that, making sure that I have other people that can support what I do as well, that can step in when I'm away for a short time. And if you didn't want to hire somebody, have other people working with you, it's making those connections within your community that you would refer to. So who would you refer to? And then asking them, do you mind if I refer my patients to you when I'm away this time? Or if you could be like an emergency therapist in case they need to get in while I'm away.
I'm sure your patients love that you do this work.
They do, actually, and my patients are my biggest supporters. So this time, I just got back from Roatan, and we took a 50-pound bag of medical supplies that we gave to a clinic down there, and a 50-pound bag of donations for orphans. So clothing and diapers and toothbrushes and socks for an orphanage that's down there. And that's something that anyone can do. So I didn't know that at the time, and I simply contacted a clinic that was down there and an orphanage and said that I wanted to bring supplies. And WestJet or Air Canada will allow you up to 4 50-pound bags taken for free if they're humanitarian supplies, and you just have a note from that clinic that they're medical supplies that they're waiting for.
That's fantastic.
So anyone can do it, so you don't have to think like, oh, I have to designate a certain amount of my time. As therapists, we have a huge influx of people that come into our practice that are dentists, that are nurses, that have someone that was sick that they have a box of medical supplies for that doesn't need it anymore. And contacting them and taking it down is something everyone can do when they're on holidays. It's a small thing for us, but in these countries that don't even have Amazon, it makes a huge difference. And I would say that that's pretty much most of the Caribbean islands do not have Amazon or FedEx. So taking a bag of supplies there when you're already going anyways, and you can leave it in the hotel lobby and they will come and pick it up. You don't even have to deliver it. So yeah, I think it's something that we can all be doing.
That's amazing. And aside from the supplies, which as you said, anybody can do, one thing you mentioned at the beginning was educating medical staff, because that's something that's super valuable since you yourself can't be there 12 months out of the year. When you go back to certain countries, or have you been back to the same countries before, do you connect with some of the same clinics and staff and see how they're doing?
I do, and I think that the most special gift that I'm thankful for is WhatsApp, because it doesn't matter what country that you go to, everybody has access to WhatsApp. And so even if the internet connection isn't great, you can still connect back and check in on how things are going. So yes, I go there, and you do not have to be special to impart the wisdom that you have and show other people how things work. And then I can use WhatsApp to check in and just, how are things going? Do you guys have any questions about anything? I have these dolls, and so when they call me from Cozumel because they're interested in breastfeeding techniques, I'm just finishing up my lactation consultant, or something that's going on with the cranium or the latch, I can always use the doll, and on WhatsApp I can show them, bring the knees in, make circles, make sure the arms can reach above the head, and we can go through these things together. So it's using what you have.
And why the drive, Terra? Everything sounds amazing, and I know that everybody really does love that feeling of being able to help people, but by the sounds of it, you're really going above and beyond, and making sure that you're checking in on people on your own time, educating people through WhatsApp, going back to specific countries. Why do you feel so compelled to do this?
So I think the reason that I feel so driven to do this work is because here in Canada, we're lucky. We have the opportunity to get continuing education credits, to continue to learn in so many different fields. And in a lot of these other countries, the education there is just substandard. And so even as massage therapists, we have so much that we can offer to other countries just to help them get a little bit further. And I just think, just because I was born here where things are easy, I really think that we should all be giving back to someone else. And I could send money if I didn't have any skills to go do something, but because I do, I feel like it's much more helpful if I go and show people a better way to do something than just to throw money at them. So that's why I do it.
Do they welcome you with open arms? Do the medical professionals there really want to learn, and are they really excited to hear what you have to say and learn new techniques and upgrade their skills?
Yeah, always. So one thing that makes me feel really humble is that when I go there, they act like I have more answers than they do, whereas they've had to learn how to do things without having any of the opportunities that we have with medicine and the most updated tools. And so I'm in awe of how far they've come with how little that they have. And so I think that if I can give them just the littlest bit to make what they're doing that much more effective, I feel honored. And so I think that probably because I go into it with that attitude, and that I feel grateful as well that I have this opportunity, it makes for a good mix. People say here that our medical profession doesn't want to hear what my massage therapist has to say, or they look down on my osteopath. But to be honest, even here in Canada, I haven't had that experience. I've had physicians and other educators really interested in what we have to say and what we've learned. And I think that a lot of it is our confidence in what we have to share, not in what we're sharing. Because medical professionals themselves here in Canada only have 20 hours of basic anatomy. And so in massage school, alone we have over 200 hours of just anatomy. And then everything that we do is based on anatomy. And so then we go, to osteo school where it's the next level of anatomy. So I feel like, even when I've talked with other medical professions and I've explained something, and where I think what I might be saying is remedial, they've, been really interested and said, can you expand on that? So I think it's more in our mindset and thinking that we don't have that much to offer, but I think that we just don't realize how valuable our education is and how much we can help by educating others and sharing our knowledge.
I think it's a very important point. Talk to me about the clinic in Roatan. When is that set to open up? What are the plans? And what is your role going to be specifically there? Are we losing you here in Canada? Are you leaving?
No, not at all. So the clinic is already established. There's two. There's the Clinica Esperanza, and that's in Sandy Bay. And then there's a clinic in the East End. And the clinic in the East End is mostly young pregnant moms, which start at the average age of 14, which is unheard of here. Or maybe not, but the average age of 14, and they're unwed mothers or orphan children. And so between the two clinics, I'll have a room. And so I'll be doing treatments in either one of those. So Clinic Esperanza, I'll go back and educate, do postpartum education. Even if you just know general basic massage or pain relieving techniques for pregnant women, you can go there and show those midwives and lactation consultants how they can better help or facilitate helping the postpartum women there, pregnancy and postpartum. And so, but the other clinic, I'll be doing more cranial work, latching issues, and pelvic floor within our scope of practice, pelvic floor work on young moms there.
Oh, that's incredible.
But it'll just be like, I'm hoping to spend a month down there, so maybe 2 weeks at each of the clinics when I go, and that'll take over the work that I was doing in Africa. So I still won't be going away for 2 months a year here. I'm still looking, and it's a great way to break up the winter here as well. I can't complain. It benefits me too.
That somewhat leads into my next question. When you go on these missions, I mean, you're there working, but of course you enjoy the countries a little bit, you meet people. How different is the way of life in some of these third world countries, in the sense that, does it make you feel like all of the problems we have are first world problems? Or do you realize that we are all just so stressed that everything's a problem?
Yeah, a bit of both. I think that when you go to those countries, you realize that because they have so little, they make do with what they have. And so they do seem a bit happier than we do here. There's more community, because in the evenings, everybody isn't rushing off to sit on their Netflix. So people sit around and play cards and talk, and you spend more time with the community. So you actually form really close relationships really quickly. And it's beautiful. So even in Africa, there's, reserves, there's things to do. The country itself is beautiful. We can, I know it sounds kind of silly, but we can go and pump water for an afternoon. And it makes you feel really good to be so needed and so accepted. So yeah, like I said, it fills my cup as well when I go on these trips. And if I was being totally honest, I probably get more out of it than they do. So yeah, it definitely makes my life here seem a lot smaller.
Is there any sadness? And what I mean by that is you're working a lot with pediatrics and orphan children, and probably dealing with patients who, as you said, don't have access to either practitioners with the knowledge to deal with their conditions, or with conditions that we wouldn't see here necessarily because we have more access. Is there ever a part of it that can really affect your mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you go there and you see that I think I talked about this before, like something so simple as a 5-cent polio vaccine here, and there children still die from polio. So when you go and you see how privileged we are to be here, then some of the things there are hard to bear just because you know that the resolution to it could be so simple, right? Or a lot of burn victims, especially in Africa, because they heat everything by fire. And so it's, the chances are higher of someone getting burned or scalded when, there's always a pot of boiling water in a home. So some of those things are really hard to take because here in Canada, we don't have those kind of issues because, we have proper homes and they're heated properly. It's not like we have a fire going on inside of our homes. So those are very rare, but I think that, when you realize that you can go and make a difference by even just taking some lavender oil, maybe telling them not to put honey on everything, maybe just a small bit of education is sometimes very helpful. Mm-hmm.
And you have children as well. You're
I
a
do,
mother.
yeah.
I mean, your babies
Growing
are grown
children,
up.
yeah.
Your babies are grown up and you have grandchildren. What does your family think about the missions? Are they, I assume they're very proud, but do they worry about you going to these places? Are they very supportive? Have any of your family ever gone with you?
No, nobody's ever gone with me, but I think that they're really proud. I don't think anybody's ever been worried about me. It's been a good experience all the way around. My kids have done their own work. My youngest daughter has gone to Haiti and done mission work, and then my middle daughter actually went to Uganda and worked in an orphanage there. So, yeah.
Like mother, like daughter.
Yeah.
And what's next for you other than the clinic? Is that where you're planning to keep your focus for the next little while, or are you already thinking about other things that you can do to give back to the global community?
Yeah, I think for right now, I really do just want to get Roatan started. My husband would like to travel around and check out some other islands. And if we do that, then I would just contact them in advance, see what clinics are there and what the availability is to go and do some work there. I think that all of us think that you have to have something special to take there. But even if I contact them and say, I can give 1 day of education, and if there's anyone in your clinic that would like to learn some updated things on lactation consultant or some updated things on pregnancy or postpartum, or even, even if it wasn't related to that and I wanted to go there and show people how to alleviate neck pain. If you contact places like this in advance and say, hey, I'm gonna be here this week, I was just wondering if any one of those days, any of the therapists that work in your clinic would like some updated techniques that even if I just graduated from school, that I've just learned, that I would be more than happy to share. Because like I said, in these particular places or countries, Jamaica, Mexico, they don't have the most updated information. So they're more than happy to have someone come in, and you're considered to be, even if you're a brand new graduate, and I think especially if you're a brand new graduate, you're considered to be a bit of a celebrity in these countries because you want to come and share what you've just learned so that they have a more updated practice. They don't get a certificate at the end of it, but they get an ability to be able to help people better than they were before. So how rewarding would that be?
Do you encourage your students here in Canada, because you are an educator?
Yeah.
Do you talk about this work that you do when you're teaching your classes? Do you encourage students to look into going to other countries and bringing their knowledge and expertise?
Yeah, I always do. As educators, I think that we can take our gifts anywhere we go. As a massage therapist, we could go and work on a cruise boat, and you could get, a month free on a cruise boat, and all you have to do is offer your services. I think people need to be a little bit more creative with the skills that they have. I remember at the beginning of my fitness instructor career, I had a girlfriend that was hiring instructors to go work at resorts. And so all you had to do was pay for your plane ticket and your partners. So if you wanted to take someone with you, all you had to do was pay for the plane tickets for both of you. Everything else was covered. Your all-inclusive vacation for a week, and you taught 2 fitness classes a day. Like many of us as fitness instructors, we're teaching more than 2 classes a day anyways, and you were gonna work out anyhow, but now you get a free holiday out of it. Plus you meet other people that love the same things that you love, so you can hang out with them afterwards. It was awesome. So I started realizing as a massage therapist, a lot of these resorts do the exact same thing. They're more than happy to have a massage therapist come, be there for 2 weeks, and you could say, what is the value? Like what would it cost me to make this worth my time? So 2 massages a day, or sharing some education. I mean, I think as people, we need to get a little bit more creative with the skills that we have, and there's a barter system that could end up, benefiting you as well as them. So I think we limit ourselves in thinking that, everything has to have a monetary value. It's what is it worth for me? And so, yeah, I think that hopefully, whenever I teach my trainings, I always tell all the people that do it, like, how much they could be using these skills, not just to benefit others, but also to benefit themselves. There's other things that we could be doing. Yeah, getting creative.
You've imparted a lot of wisdom tonight.
I hope so.
But if you had to leave massage therapists, manual osteopathic practitioners, yoga instructors, fitness trainers, anybody in this manual therapy realm, what would be your advice to them? I think you kind of just said it, but final words.
Yeah, it's to realize that you've been given a gift. So we don't get into any kind of therapy or healing, what is it called? Healing field or energy medicine. Like, we don't get into all of this unless we are healers ourselves. So it's remembering that if you just gather all that information up and keep it within yourself and fill your practice, because we can all do that, we're not benefiting the people that we're trying to help and heal. But by taking that education and information that we've gathered, and even just getting together with other therapists and sharing it, we enrich the world around us. And so I think that that's what I would say. In whatever realm you're in, mentoring is so important, and giving back fills your cup as well.
Thank you, Terra.
You're welcome.